I'd like to welcome you guys to this week's report. Today is Thursday, May 1st. Here we are in May already, and the weather is still stuck back in February by the looks of it. At least the weekend weather. We had pretty decent weather all week here, and now we're going to have a very windy Saturday afternoon and all day Sunday. So, sorry. If you guys are looking forward to fishing, I'd definitely take that into consideration. I don't think it's going to be very fishable. Maybe Saturday morning, I might give it a shot, but looks like we have a Catalina eddy going, so in my area there's going to be a south wind in the morning on Saturday, and then west wind everywhere else for the rest of the day. So, maybe I'm wrong, maybe the weather forecaster's wrong, let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, before I get into business here, I want to let you guys know that Matt and I went on the Bait Tank podcast Tuesday, I think it was, and that episode is going to air on Monday. If you want to watch it, you can just Google Bait Tank podcast. You can find their Apple Music page or wherever you watch those things, or listen to them. It's not a video, it's just talking. We talked about a little bit of everything, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Tonight is the CCA California Anthony Shea trophy or whatever award party for Dave Pfeiffer from Shimano. I'm getting ready to head over there after I film this, so if I see me over there, say hi. And then on the 24th, we have the CCA Start Tournament starting up. Talked about it a little bit last week. We'll be talking about it more as it goes. It's $40 to enter. You can measure fish, sport boat, your own boat, shore, float tube, kayak, whatever you got. Different species all have different sizes, and each species that you have of the right size or bigger is one entry into the raffle of 8 grand prizes, including an 18-foot Parker boat. So, if you haven't signed up yet, I would definitely sign up now. We're going to start with the Channel Islands. They're still catching some sea bass up there. It peaked around the new moon on the 28th of last month, and still catching fish. I saw today already, I think, the Gray Light reported the limits this morning pretty early. I know yesterday a few boats got limits. It's not a guaranteed thing, but the fish are there. I talked to Pat, who runs the Aloha Spirit, and he said that it's just finding the right school of sea bass. Those things represent Santa Rosa Island. I guess they're just driving around with the sonar, finding them, and hoping that they bite. And it seems like they'll see schools most trips, but the schools tend to bite better around the new and the full moon. So, if you're planning a trip up there, definitely check out the Aloha Spirit. If you want to fish with less people, you can check out the Gray Light. And if you're in the Santa Barbara area, I think the Coral Sea has been running pretty regularly as well. So, those fish are being caught on flukes and dropper loops still. It's very similar to bluefin tuna fishing. You just sit there while the boat drives around looking for them, and drop it on when they find them and hoping they bite. And the good news, you can do it during the daytime instead of at night. Pat also said the water is 53 to 56 degrees up there. It's green, dirty green. But they're already seeing some barracuda show up at Santa Cruz Island. Definitely a good sign. A lot of times when there were more barracuda around, they would show up at the Channel Islands first, either La Jolla or the Channel Islands, and then fill in through the rest of the coast. And we're going to get into that time of year. Historically, the first barracuda showed up around the time of the Long Beach Grand Prix. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And so maybe it'll be a good barracuda year again this year. Wouldn't be disappointed in that for the sport boats. Oh, and he also said that the guys fishing Anacapa Island are catching some halibut up there. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be fishable up there this weekend. I think over the next 2 weeks or week and a half, it'll probably be a little bit slower on sea bass to get shots of them, but it won't be consistent. And then as we get into the next full moon here, around the 15th or whatever that is, the bite should pick back up. And hopefully some other fish start biting along with it. Don't really have any coverage from Nick, SBI, or Clementi, or Cat really. Doesn't really matter, they wouldn't be fishable at all this week. Something to local. Talk about local fishing. Yeah, so on the local scene here up north, or where I live anyway, up north compared to San Diego, south compared to Ventura, the Spitfire out of Breeding Del Rey has been getting some really nice halibut on their trips. 3-quarter-day trips. Those were all out of the Santa Monica Bay. Actually saw them fishing on Friday. This is also a pretty typical time of year to catch halibut. I don't know if they spawn now or what, but I remember when my friends used to work on a sea spray out of Redondo way back when. We used to drift halibut around this time of year before the pelagic sand bass, migratory sand bass, barracuda showed up. But they're getting some good scores. Yeah, not really my cup of tea, but if you like that kind of thing, go for it. I know the native son is also doing the same thing. What's nice to see is they're starting to get some fish on flukes, as well as the normal dropper loop stuff down here. That might actually make it a little bit more exciting to fish. But I'll be honest, if I was thinking about a sport, but it wouldn't be to go halibut fishing. So, yeah, if you like halibut fishing, go for it. Bring a fluke, bring a dropper loop rod, knock yourself out. So my trips this weekend, I actually have some video. I got 3 little video clips here. On Friday we went to PV, and as I mentioned last week, the conditions were just not there yet. And conditions on Friday morning were actually a little bit worse than they were the week before, temperature-wise, and watercolor down on the south end of the peninsula. But we drove around, and finally ended up way at Rat Beach, which is basically where Palos Verdes meets the sand there, just right after Torrance. That's why it's called that, I guess. And what we did, we just drove until usually the water's a little warmer back in that corner, so we just kept driving that way. We found the warmest water that was around. We found a couple of seagulls sitting on the water, a couple of cormorants diving. I never fished there before. There's no kelp. It's just hard bottom. I didn't even know it was hard bottom until I got my my seabass chart. It showed the bottom contour, because I had no reason to ever go there. It just looks like a beach, but it's actually pretty similar to the shale beach off Huntington Dog Beach there. So we got into that zone, and despite never having fished there, I could tell by what I was seeing on the chart and what I was seeing on the fish finders that we're sitting over, 13 to 15 feet of hard bottom with isolated little shrubberies of kelp and that Japanese wireweed that's in the invasive species up there now. And there was bait in that zone, and it was the warmest zone we found, so we just fished with crankbaits because that's what we do in other areas, and it worked out quite well. The fish were not really committing to the bait. It was all reaction bites. And you can tell that because, like I mentioned last week, every fish you hook, once you get in the boat, it falls off. We were getting a lot of bites on the crankbait where we're not hooking the fish at all. So that's a good indicator that these things are just headbutting it or chasing it. And several of the fish I caught didn't eat the crankbait until I was about to lift out of the water. They just followed all the way to the boat. And but we caught fish, and so I got some video of it here, and I'll talk a little bit more about it.
I kind of fish all crankbaits the same, rip and pause. Just this reel's not as fast as the other one.
Right.
Throwing me off a little bit. Got a bite.
There you go.
Here we go.
We're in the business.
There we go. We're in the bass now. You on? We're having fun now.
Yeah. Yeah, so while catching a mix of small calicos and sand bass on a crankbait doesn't seem like a great day or a flamethrower by any stretch of the imagination. It sure feels like it after you've driven around Palos Verdes for 2 days and not seen any action of schooling fish or fish that you could catch more than one of at a spot. So, you know, you guys know how much I fish PB and how much experience I have there. I was shocked that I could find a new spot, and I really wish I would have had that spot in my back pocket back when I fished bass tournaments, because there were a lot of times that PB where it'd be tough, you got nowhere to go. So, might have saved a couple days there. My next little video is going to show, I talked last week about boiler fishing, and well, back catches of fish. It's more about boat positioning in relation to kelp and rock, and maybe clear up some misconceptions about how you have to have your boat position. And in this video, you're going to see that I have my bow into the beach, which when it comes to boiler fishing is not that smart. If you're, well, that's what people assume. So if you're fishing in an area where the swell can break outside of you, never put your bow towards the beach. Always at least have the boat parallel to the shoreline so you can turn it out and get away out bow first over the swell. The area where we're fishing, it's deep. So while the boilers are right in front of us, we're sitting in, 13 to 20 feet of water in an area that does not break. So as long as I keep my prop clear of kelp, I have no worries about getting out of there because I can just back out. And that's a lot easier to do that when you have kelp beds near the boilers. Because when you're parallel to the boilers and there's kelp on the outside of you, and you have to get out of there quick, you may not have an avenue that you know is there where you can get out without fouling your prop. I've done that in the past, cat, it's scary. You're trying to get out of a zone because it's getting sketchy, and then you got a big ball of kelp around your prop and kills your motor. So, yeah. So, regardless of the situation, I wouldn't be on a trolling motor. I put the bow in, let Matt fish, and I kept the boat in position. Well, the things I'm keeping aware of where there's rocks in front of me, where there are rocks to the side of me that I might drift into, and also what's exactly behind my boat and where is my lane to back out of there if I need to. And no matter how appealing a spot looks, if you can't get to it without having that lane of exit, you're putting your boat at risk. And that's not worth it to me for a calico bass. So I don't know how much of the driving around and the boilers I'm going to show you, but here's the video. Got that bird's interest.
Yeah. Good sign.
Got one?
Got one.
Nice.
Follower.
Nice.
That AFCO bait, man.
I'll say.
It's a good one. And how?
guys, got me fucked again here, Matt.
Okay.
And then that fucking shelf right there.
Right there, yeah, you can see it.
Well, maybe we'll find some on the way home. So Saturday morning, we wanted to go back out, and there was a chance to rain. It looked pretty good on our way out of the harbor until we got out of the harbor, and it was pouring. I mean, we did pour, and I was like, I haven't fished in rain like that in a very long time. We started the break wall. It was just the south wind was blowing us into the wall. Conditions were funky. There was divers all over the place. One of them was actually waving us down, yelling for us to come over, like he needed rescue. And we get over there, and there's no boat around. Apparently these guys had their boat on the inside of the wall, and they were using those steps to climb over the wall to go to the outside. And then we get there, and he's just swimming around with his head down, so we're banging on the hull so he can hear us. He goes, "Oh, I thought you guys were my friends. I was coming. You come get me." I'm like, "Well, you shouldn't be yelling help in that situation." So hopefully him and his idiot buddies made it out of there without getting hurt. Anyways, we went into the Long Beach Harbor to fish the riprap in there. I talked quite a bit about riprap. I really haven't shown much video of it. A lot of it's going to be sped up because basically I'm going to show you how you want to work a stretch of riprap to take care of catching, to catch fish instead of you pulling up and stopping and making 100 casts in one spot. You have to keep the boat moving. There's not fish everywhere. You know, if they're there, you're going to get bit on the first cast. And it also relates to keeping the boat in position. The stretch of riprap we were fishing, it's very deep water next to it. So basically, you can see where the boat is holding. I'm holding the boat. We're sitting at about 17, 18 feet of water, that close to the rock. But if we were 10 feet over, we're in 25 feet of water. You're not catching fish on a crankbait, especially spotted in that depth. So this is a situation where a trolling motor really helps out. We are going to get one again. My friend Garrett Ching is replacing his. He's going to sell us his old one. So it's going to be nice to have that for these situations, also for spot locking while fishing cod in the future. But since we didn't have a trolling motor, I played trolling motor for Matt. I made a few casts too, but my main focus was just keeping the boat in position. And by in position, it means making sure that Matt is casting his crankbait into less than 18 feet of water by casting off the bow of the boat. And he catches a few fish here, nothing too exciting, but yeah. Oh, that one's gone. That one? Yeah. Hey, seabass. Dandy. Potty this time. There we go. There you go. Potty.
Potty. He came to potty.
This is a stretch where you'd have to have a trolling motor, 2 guys in the bow to bring the work any other way.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I just want you to catch
That would
something
be
more.
great.
Get into that zone where you saw the bait earlier.
Well, there was a couple little small boils a few minutes ago. Side of us.
Yeah, right here I'm at 21 feet. Nice.
That's a fucking tugger bite right there.
That's acting like a spotty.
Sure be. Sure be a spotty.
Alright, so down south, they combined the coast of the Coronados here, because not enough of either to talk about separately. There's still some yellows along the beach down there. My buddy Dwayne from Pinnacle was out, caught a couple fish the other day. Some other guys are getting some fish as well. Run and gun fishing. You gotta find them. You know, if you know what you're doing, don't look for other boats. Look for birds and signs of life. You got a better shot at catching them. If you're the second or third boat there in those situations, you're probably not gonna catch anything. Coronados, they're starting to catch some yellows again too down there, and the full day fleet has reverted back to going to the Coronados, I think, this week, because that big bonita dried up local, still a little bit around, and the Calpatti yellows are pretty few and far between. They're also quite small. They did see some bluefin in that area last weekend though, so who knows, but that might become a thing again here as we come into the next full moon. But yeah, the yellowtail Bight Coronados is not wide open, but there are fish to be caught. Should get a lot more coverage in coming days. I don't know about the weekend because the weather. Probably Saturday they'll be down there. And offshore, same deal as last week. There's big bluefin biting and small bluefin biting, and they're mostly biting at night, and they're far out west. So, day and a half trip, 2 day trip's your best bet. I don't think anybody's gonna be going this weekend. But yeah, it just looks like nighttime misery to me. I actually saw one of the boats. I'm not knocking sport boats. I'm talking about how I like to fish. I saw a trip was offering a 2 day for like $800 to go fish bluefin. You catch 2 a day, so that's 4 fish. You know, let's say they're 30. You get the 30 or 40 pounders. So, you get not a lot of fighting or sport there. You catch 2 fish and 100-pound test in the middle of the night. You gotta spend 2 nights out there doing it, rocking around on the boat, just being miserable. And I was thinking, I would actually pay $400 just to stay home. So maybe I'm the weird one, I don't know. But if you guys love that stuff, go out and do it. Go catch a 200-pounder. Do whatever you want. Even if you have the crew reeled in most of the way, which seems like a pretty common scenario there. But yeah. So I got my unsolicited advice this week. I forgot to mention it earlier on, but I still have it. And it's more on owning your own boat. Yeah, so Matt actually brought this up. Matt, my boat partner. Matt and I have been boat partners for 16 years, so I talked about it in the last thing. But, what it is the importance of having a boat partner. And having somebody that you can share your expenses and share your enjoyment and sharing everything else with. It makes all the difference in the world. They will get you out on the water when you don't want to go. You'll get them on the water when they don't want to go. You build a good friendship. It's very nice. You get excited about getting new stuff for the boat and dealing with all the other stuff. And, the size of the boat you get depends on your budget. Maybe it's a 14-footer, maybe it's an 80-footer, but you can really learn a lot and have a lot of fun by finding the right person. So what is the right person to be a boat partner with? I'd say that there's 3 or 4 here, and they're in no particular order, but you need somebody that is reliable. And by reliable, I mean that if they say they're going to be at your house at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning, they're going to be there. Also reliable in that if the boat is at their house and it needs an oil change or needs whatever, and they say I'm going to do it, they do it. Or hey, I need you to put line on the reels and blah blah blah, whatever. That needs to get done. So reliability is somebody that you can trust. So the nice thing with Matt is if he tells me he's going to do something, I'm the same with him. We just do it. Just have it, and we don't let the other person down. It's not last minute. Oh, I didn't, whatever. So that's important, and it also goes along with fiscal responsibility. Like I talked about last week, owning a boat is expensive. There are unseen expenses. There are things that pop up and will pop up unless you're rich. I'm not rich. There's going to be times where something needs to be done on the boat, and one of the partners may not have the money available to pay their share at the time. You need a partner that you can trust is going to pay their share when it comes due. Or you need to be in a position where you say, hey, I can afford this right now. I know you're strapped for cash. I got this. Let's worry about it later. The best way to do it, we have a boat credit card. I keep it in my name, but everything gas, repairs, anything we buy for the boat, oil change kits, even, food when we go fishing, whatever, new tackle if we did, everything gets on the boat credit card bill, and every month we each pay our half, and then everybody's happy. Don't let anything stand out or build up debt. So those are the obvious ones, and for you younger guys that think everybody's your best friend, as I did, or a good friend, and you want to be partners with somebody, look at how they take care of themselves outside of the relationship with you and the boat. Are they behind on their bills? Are they renting or buying? Are they wasteful of money? Are they constantly buying new stuff they don't need? Those might be red flags that they're not the right boat partner for you. So now the really important stuff. You need to have similar fishing interests, and more importantly, a similar fishing schedule and timeline. Matt and I both like to fish bass. We'll occasionally fish tuna. We mostly just fish bass. We both like that. It's fun. We're also not someone who one of us wants to go to Clemente every weekend. The other one wants to fish local. We also want to get off the water at about the same time and not always get on the water at the crack of dawn. So there's some adjustments that you have to make, but basically the person you're going to be with as a partner, it's almost like being married to them. And Rachel calls Matt my same-sex life partner. She's not wrong. It's you're tied very close to that person, but if you like fishing Clemente and fish until dark, you don't want a partner who wants to leave at noon and go fish Palos Verdes. No matter how willing they are, you're not going to be, one or the other person is not going to be happy half the trips. So it's it's very important to look at those things before you go in partners. But I would advise you guys 100%, absolutely get a boat partner. It's the best thing you'll ever do. And you're talking about going fishing, they'll get you to go fishing when you don't want to. This weekend, Saturday, I absolutely did not want to fish. I knew it was going to rain. Matt called me around 8 o'clock in the morning, fired up to go fishing. Yeah, that's fine, let's just do it. He's like, oh, it sounds like you don't want to go. I said, I don't want to go, but I'm going to go. Because there's a lot of times where I've wanted to go and not have anybody to go with me. So I don't want to build a little good karma. But that's the thing. If you have a partner, more often than not, you're going to have somebody to fish with. And that's half the fun. So anyway, I hope you guys stay out of the wind this weekend and have a great weekend. And if you're going fishing, be safe.